Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Crafting for Profit Live. We are your go to podcast for turning your creativity into a thriving business. And today we're talking all about B2B sales, and that is business to business, and what it actually looks like to take your handmade goods and start wholesaling, working with retailers, and even doing like consignment deals.
So we are joined today by the amazing Kim and Garrett from Kim and Garrett Make It. Together, they have built a powerhouse YouTube channel and shop and a whole bunch of other stuff. And they have a lot of wisdom of how to move sort of from that B2C, business to consumer, into that B2B space. So we are really excited to chat with them today.
Now, if you are joining us on YouTube, this episode is pre recorded. However, we are chatting along with you in the live chat during the premiere. So if you're hanging out with us in the chat, feel free to ask any questions that you have. If you're listening later on the podcast or watching the YouTube replay, feel free to drop down to the YouTube description or the podcast notes, and we have a link to a form where you can ask questions at any time. And in that description below, we have all the links you need to learn more and connect with us as well as Kim and Garrett. So let's
Cool.
get started.
Yeah, let's dive in. Okay, Kim and Garrett, let's start with your journey. So, what did your business look like when you were primarily selling sort of business to customer, markets or online direct to customers? And then what made you decide to start selling to other businesses?
Thanks for having us. We do
Yeah.
appreciate being here. And I guess business to customer, we started with basic farmers markets, craft shows.
We actually started selling online. We have a YouTube channel, like you mentioned. So we're just making things for our house, and somebody asked, "Do you make that?
Do you
Or
sell
I can
those?"
buy that?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Sure." And then that turned into, "Well, if people are buying it online, let's go to craft shows." And she was like, "We are not ready for a craft show. Let's start with a farmer's market." So
We did. We have one right down the street from our house. Every Saturday, there was a little farmer's market. So we started with that. And that's how we built our confidence up with, okay, we can sell these goods. We learned how to display things and we got more comfortable speaking with people, being able to market our products, tell more about our products, tell
Yeah.
their story. And then that's how farmers markets became craft shows. And then craft shows became larger craft shows.
And
With
then
a
larger craft shows, we are approached by people who own gift shops and things. And we're like, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing like consignment or wholesale?" And we are like, "No, but if you teach us what we're doing, we'll gladly play along."
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of how we got started and began that transition.
I guess I should also ask you, can you also tell the audience what exactly you make? What do you make and sell?
Our YouTube channel is really about how to make crafts with your laser, crafts to sell with your laser. And our primary product that we offer in our stores and SVGs that we offer are door hangers. So we do a
Craft
lot
shows, yeah.
with door hangers, and that's what we take to the craft shows. And we do lots of other crafts. You can see them kind of on the wall behind us. But mostly our big thing is door hangers. That's our thing. 3D door hangers, lots of different designs.
Yeah.
Garrett's our artistic. Garrett's
Sorry.
artistic.
Yeah.
I'm crafty. So together we can make it work.
Like that. And you guys also sell kits so that people can make their own signs at home.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
that was a request. Somebody was like, "Oh, I love these finished, but do you sell just the pieces so I could paint it myself?" And I was like, "Yes, we do."
Yeah. So it evolved into selling the digital files, selling the finished items, selling the unfinished product, and then that became an unfinished kit. Now, can we offer the paint to go with it? Can we offer the rollers to go with it?
We offer a workshop to go with it.
Oh, right. And then that evolved into workshops. So we do on-site workshops here on the weekends, and people come in and we paint door hangers in our workshop space too.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah. All aspect of door hangers.
I like that you've kind of approached it now from basically every angle. You're like,
Right.
Yeah,
Because-
well, it was anytime someone asked, I would say, well, there's obviously a hole,
A market.
a market,
Mhm.
so let's fill it.
Yeah.
So
love that.
if one person asks, I see there's interest. But if three people ask, that's it, we're doing it.
That's amazing. Sounds like so much fun as well. All right. So, what were the biggest changes you had to make when you started shifting to that B2B? Anything that surprised you? Did you, take some trial and error to figure some things out? So when those people started approaching you at the craft fair, like what did the process look like from there?
Just like any new business adventure, there are learning curves. And we had shared with her, no, we've not done that before, but we are definitely interested. We'd love to get our products in your gift shop. And the biggest challenge, and I guess it's probably going to be the same for most folks, it was pricing. How do I leave enough so that it makes this worth it for me, worth it for her, and we're still making a profit. She's making a profit. And that didn't work out great the very first time we did it.
Well, when we started our pricing based off of what it took to kind of make a sign. And then Kim would be like, I'm not paying that. Let's figure out how we can make it and keep the cost within somewhere that's reasonable. So we didn't have a lot of margin built in when she approached us. So then when she explained that she would get it at 40% off, we were immediately like, that only leaves like 10% for us. So yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow, but we worked the deal out with her and she was really flexible. So,
Well, and I think she shared with us what she would sell this at retail for. And that actually helped us
open our eyes.
What we should be selling retail at the craft shows and things like that. And I will say, as we've evolved, we've learned different shows are different expectations. So you're going to get a different price at a farmer's market than I am at a true craft show where people are coming to buy crafts, art, especially if we're doing an art show. People are there and they know what the value of the handmade goods are for. At the farmer's market, they're there to buy vegetables. And if I'm selling door hangers, they may buy one, but they're really there to get, their tomatoes.
Yeah.
And
The mushroom lady next to us killed it. Killed it.
One winter, we did the winter market. We were like, we could do the winter market. Let's do it. Oh my gosh. She was killing it with people were there just to buy mushrooms.
Yes.
And we're out there freezing. And they were not interested in door hangers.
I mean, she was killing it so hard that while somebody was standing in line, they just peek in and said, do you have any mushroom signs?
I guess we're going to have to add some mushroom
If I would be
signs.
next to her all winter.
That is funny. So you talked a little bit about pricing, but let's talk about overall logistics. How do you approach pricing, packaging? Do you have minimum order quantities when you're selling to retailers? What are kind of the differences between when you're doing all of those things, in retail?
Well, that's exactly it. As we learned over time, it's not worth it for us to make 10 individual signs and sell those at wholesale. But if I can make 10 of the same sign and then sell those at wholesale, that makes it a lot easier.
It was really about getting our systems in place and getting them down till they're almost automated. There's some hand painting and assembling, but it's got to be mindless type of work. Not mindless, just in batches. So we were doing them in batches of 10 to 20s.
I can paint all the yellow flip-flops, all the pink flip-flops, all at one time. So if I can do 10 at a time, I can paint them a whole lot faster than doing a flip-flop sign, a ladybug sign, and then, I don't know, a rainbow sign. They're all different colors across 3 different signs.
And
Takes
then
a lot longer to do.
And I'm just loading the boards and hitting repeat about 10 times to get all the signs done. And then we're just painting those same 10. And then once they're all painted, we have little jigs to help us put them together.
It's about minimum order quantity. We need to do 10 at a time to make it worth it for us. And then when you're working with the businesses, they understand that too. When I shared with her, we need to do this in 5s or 10s in order to make it worth it for me. And she was like, okay, then I want 3 different designs to start with. And she knew she was buying 5 of each. We did 5 of each for her. But when I sell wholesale on our website now, we do 10. Minimum order of 20. You can do 10 of one sign and 10 of another, but that makes it worth it for us to, like he said, all I have to do then is load the board in the laser, take it off and hit run again. And there's just a lot less time for us to load the file up, get all the settings right. So it's a lot easier just to
Yeah.
hit rerun.
I have a jig set up. I throw the board in. I don't even have to look at it.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
No, we want to make sure again that we set our pricing to the point where we are making a profit and they are making a profit. We understood over time, we learned as we worked with her. She taught us a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
you
taught
know,
us a lot.
she became a
Tour,
yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
She didn't mind doing it. She goes, "Oh, I don't mind helping you guys," because she had been running her business. She ran a gift shop. She's worked with lots of different people.
Mhm.
So I
Which
think,
was great.
yeah, she didn't mind mentoring us. So we knew to set that pricing. So she was expecting that 40% discount. We wanted to make sure we knew exactly what our costs were. That's so important,
Mhm.
is to make sure that you're getting good value on your materials that you're purchasing and making sure the more we can buy in bulk, the cheaper we can get it. We know how things go like that. So making sure that we're getting materials at a good price so that we have enough that we feel like
Mhm.
the juice is worth the squeeze is what we would say.
Like when we couldn't rework the price, we would rework the system to try to
Right.
get in that same margin.
Even what you're saying now, just even the small thing
Yeah.
of putting a jig so that you don't have to move your board every time in your laser. I've been making for a craft fair that I have
Mhm.
coming up this weekend. I've been making street signs like out of acrylic, like bookish street signs out of acrylic. And every time I have to like go in and like adjust my image when it would make so much more sense for me to just throw a jig in there.
Yeah.
Oh, that is one thing we learned early on with those
Mhm.
lasers. You just put an L in the corner so you know what 0 is, and you just put your image and your design all the way at 0, 0.
And you know what your
Yep.
material size is, so you stay within that on your work area.
So
Yeah.
thanks for that tip for me. I'm sure other people will find it helpful as well.
It forced us to learn how to use tabs in the laser
Oh
to
yeah,
keep the
that's a
pieces
good
in the
one.
board. So it really forced us to look at our systems. So we were taking time loading the boards and lining up the cuts. So we made a jig. It would take us time to clear the lasers. It was taking like 15 minutes to clear the lasers. So then we started taping all the pieces. But that really only brought the clear time down to like 7 minutes to clear the lasers. And I was like, we need to get it shorter.
Well,
And
Tanner, our son, helps us, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Look how fast I am with this tape." And I was like, "Yeah, but that's still not good."
yeah, you still take it. It was still 7 minutes. And then sometimes the pieces will fall out when he's trying to lift it up, and you'd have to find the piece and put it back in the tape. And I was like, nope, now we're down to 20 minutes. This isn't working. It's not consistent. So Kim was like, I heard about these tabs you can make. You need to learn how to use tabs. I was like, no, no, no. And then one weekend,
I
I had
forced him to do it.
it was
Yeah.
a sign of a million pieces, and my tape didn't work. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to learn tabs. So now we throw the board in. There's a jig. I hit go. It comes out. I lift the entire project at once because it's held in by these little tabs that we snap out right before painting. So I can stack all the 10 sheets of cut signs, and then we wheel them out, pop them all at the same time, align them based on color.
I mean, I found this in my own business too, but the fact you have to like learn how to do things to be faster. You like, even if you don't want to learn how to
Yes,
do it, you're
yes.
like, it's time. I have to do it.
He said, at that time, the frustration was there. He said, "I don't have time to learn to use tabs." And over time, one, it's going to make the product look better. When we were selling our kits, we were sending them out with tape on them. And I was like, that does not look professional.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to look better. And then ultimately, sometimes you just have to stop, learn something new.
Mhm.
And then you're like, thank goodness.
Yeah, the 20 minutes it took me to actually learn and understand tabs has saved me hours
Yes.
over the last 2 years, 3 years now.
Yeah.
Like probably hundreds of hours.
And even if someone isn't crafting with a laser, they can still learn a lesson from that. And that you need to look at even the tiniest little part of your process and how long that's taking you. And
Yes.
where you can cut, where you can
Yes.
save, where you can learn something new and save some time. And it cuts costs and hopefully makes you more money in the long run, right?
We will just keep going until we hit a bottleneck and we fix the bottleneck. And then we keep going until there's a new bottleneck.
The laser, I have made these really great stands to hold all my stickers that I sell. And I think I have more than 100 stickers that I sell. So this is a lot of stands and a lot of stickers. And on my way home from my last
Yeah.
craft fair, one of my stands fell apart and all of my stickers were everywhere in the back of my car together. So I started by just kind of like super gluing in a few places, okay, this is now steady. And then I realized the stickers are falling through the cracks. So this week I took the time to sit there and like basically glue caulk the entire like inside of my sticker thing. And already I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? And I'm having no issues.
We also encountered that with our paint. So we'll talk about paints here eventually. We have our own paint line, but same thing, efficiencies over time. If we want to continue to offer this paint and offer it at an affordable price, then we need to get our systems down and make them faster. So it's not just the lasers. It's just like you said, wherever the bottleneck occurs, you've got to figure out a way to make it more efficient. And it's not always easy, but a little time and effort, just ponder on it. It's one of those things you think about in the shower, you're like, oh, I know how we could do that better.
And then sometimes it's things like your stands falling apart.
All right. So you started with the one wholesale client. How do you find new wholesale clients or consignment places at this point? Do people approach you? Are you actively looking for new people? Like, what does that look like?
Well, it is networking. Like she said, this lady knew a bunch of people. So once we got our systems down with her, she was happy to share our name and give us more advice, like join networking groups and small business meetup.
Yeah. So there's just different places where we found right now we don't actively sell on Fair, but that's something we're looking forward to.
We're still getting our systems down
for paints
to get on Fair.
But for some of the other things that we do with our door hangers, or we offer other B2B type things, like we've worked with some businesses to offer race medals. Like we just did a bunch of medals for 5K. We've done just different promotional items.
Awards.
And it's all about networking. So that is my biggest piece of advice: is get out there, get involved in the community. You meet people, they know people, share what you do. Especially if you're loving what you're doing, share with people. They'll feel the passion coming from you, and they want to be a part of it. They want to support you. They want to support local. They want to support small business. So the more people we have the opportunity to talk to, the more opportunities we have to gather more business.
Networking is a lot easier than cold calling. And talking to people and learning what they do and just swapping some stories is a lot easier than walking into their business with samples and being like, hello, elevator pitch.
Well, it's not that we won't do that, because we do need to do some more business, but we do love going like chamber. We're part of the Chamber of Commerce, and just getting out there and going to the networking events. Those people.
No, I was just going to say real estate events is such a good idea for what you guys do, because that's a great gift that real estate agents can then gift their clients. So I feel like finding the networking events that match your products is really, really smart.
Yes.
Because it's not just real estate agents that go to these events. It's mortgage brokers, it's the loan officers, it's everybody. And all of those people give gifts all the way down the lines, even if it's just a pen that you use to sign your mortgage with. It's stuff that we can make.
All right. Are we ready for a commercial break?
Let's do it. And I'm letting you start this one.
Okay, I am really excited because I have a new product for all of you. If you've ever felt like your craft fair booth is just not pulling in the sales you are hoping for, I have created the Market Booth Makeover Kit. So this is basically an ebook. It's filled with printables. It's filled with examples. It's filled basically with everything you need to get your booth looking more like a storefront and less like a garage sale. So if you are interested in getting this new product, it's going to retail at $29, but since it's pretty new, I'm just going to give it to you guys for $9. It is huge. It is awesome. And I'm super excited about it. So you can just head to link.craftingcamps.com/marketbooth and you can get set up to sell.
And I'm excited about this one as well. I feel like this is a question we get a lot, is like, well, how to design my booth. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to make my booth look good. And I'm excited about this product for you, because I think that people are going to love it, and it's going to help a lot of people hopefully sell more at those craft fairs.
Yeah. And if you are interested, my background is in branding and some merchandising. So I know what I'm doing here. All right. Let's go back to our wonderful interview here. So let's say one of our listeners is thinking, I want to try wholesale or consignment, but I just have like no idea where to start. I don't have like one person who came up to me at a craft booth and helped me out. Where do I begin?
I would say that networking,
Yeah.
get out there, meet people, join your local small business organizations, join your local chamber, and just start participating in some of those events. Just participate in the events, just be a part of the networking.
What is also great is if you donate something to a silent auction, that's a great way to start some buzz and be there and let people know, "Hey, this is my artwork," kind of thing, which kind of helped us at some point. It was just like YouTube. Like our first 100 videos or whatever were only seen by friends and family, and they were super cringe. So start with friends and family. Start with your Facebook pages. Let people know what you're doing, and you'll be surprised how much business will just start to come from people that you know, or somebody that knows somebody that's looking for something. There's so many people that are like, "I hope you don't mind, I gave your name." They're looking for name tags. I was like, "Yes, we can do name tags. Yeah, give them my name." So, and that
Right.
was a dentist. The dentist is like, "Hey, do you guys do name tags?" Yeah. Mhm.
And that turned in, can you do a big sign for
Yep.
my
It
office?
turned into a big sign.
Mhm.
And then he passed our name off to the orthodontist, which turned into more merch. So it's really about just getting the ball rolling.
My business cards are actually like a postcard
Mhm.
size that I pass out. That has a little bit more information on it that says like, here's what I do, here's where I wholesale, here, it has like a lot of information on it. If somebody's interested and be like, hey, I'm going to give you 3 of these just in case somebody who would also be interested, like give them a way to pass along your information could be helpful as well.
Like I said, I think it's about just networking, getting involved in the community. Like he said, I did donate a sign for an event, and I was able to put out my little brochure, my marketing material that went along with the sign. And as people see, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. Especially when I was able to offer the workshops, advertise my workshops, that just brings people in the door. And then those people come in the door and then they are like, oh, do
Yeah.
you do an event for this? Or I work for the school. We've done workshops for the schools. We've done promotional items for the schools. So
And
just one thing turns to another.
we've had a lady that worked for a construction company come in and do a workshop, which
Oh.
turned into, "Oh, can you do our business sign?"
Mhm.
I'm like, "Yes, I can."
I went to a
Yeah.
craft fair recently and I felt like this was very smart. So they in her booth, she had sort of like you could customize the sign or whatever right there, right? So you picked all your pieces and you customized them.
Okay.
And she was also explaining that I do workshops as well, and I have different variety of signs when you come in and actually do a workshop. And it hooked me right away. So I'm like, okay, where's your workshop information? Let me see that. What else do you have in the workshop? And it just drew me in right away that I could customize something. And then she's telling me that she has all these other options. And I was like, okay, I need to see that right now. I thought that was a good way to like, put herself out there of like, I do workshops and pull people
Mhm.
in and not just like having the finished signs at the craft fair, but actually having something that people were like hands on doing.
Yeah, it's like a, a sign
Yeah.
bar. We talk a lot about bars.
Yeah. Yeah. Kim's been
Yes.
talking about doing a sign bar, but same thing happens. We don't necessarily hold workshops there, but I'm always fixing or finishing a sign. And that always draws the people in. They're always like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I do
Yeah.
these signs."
That's why I always
Yeah.
recommend that little like X12F1 or one of those lasers to people just to have that running during
Oh,
the craft
yeah.
fair because they're going to be like, what is that? What does it do? All right. So, do you think small makers need to choose between like B2C and B2B? Or do you think you can do both successfully? Now, I'm thinking that you do both successfully. So, also, how do you manage kind of the balance of selling both to consumer as well as other businesses?
So I guess there's a balance. We don't mind showing our end customers that we do B2B, but we don't really show our B2B customers that we do the crafty stuff. They don't seem to care. Most of our end customers are looking for medals, trophies, military awards, that type of stuff. They don't seem to care that we do the crafty stuff. But the crafty people seem to be interested that we do B2B because a lot of them are business owners or know a business owner.
I think our lesson there to balance business to business and business to consumer is when we're working on a business to business order, we make sure that we have enough lead time. That was also a lesson learned
Yes.
over time is make sure that we know what events we have coming up and we're balancing those large orders that we're getting out for a business and make sure that we have that lead time. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's a little bit of a challenge.
Yes, that bit us. The first time we agreed to do these race medals, we are also coming up against one of our biggest craft shows of the season. And then we had mechanical problems. The materials that were delivered were wrong. Our lead time was down to nothing by the time the machine was fixed and we got the right materials in. And the craft show suffered, but we got the medals done.
Right. We had to prioritize one over the other. And another thing, I mean, sometimes you break your own rules. We just had an event. We hosted an event here for a large group of makers. And we also knew we had this year's race medals due the following week. And we were trying to get them done before the event and we didn't. And I said, well, that's okay. When the event's over, we have a full week and we'll just focus on getting those medals done. We'll have plenty of time. No, we were freaking out, but Black Friday came along. Everything wasn't done. We did get them out, but it was a whole lot more headache than we should have had. We knew better, but
Yeah.
we still sometimes you just have to balance it. It's not easy, but we do both. We do pretty good at it as long as we know what
Yes.
our schedule is. And usually when you're working with B2B customers, there is a much longer lead time.
And there's a lot more communication.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like no matter
Yes.
how hard you plan, there's just sometimes things like you were saying before, but with time, they bottleneck, right? Like I've got this huge craft fair this weekend.
Yes.
Our
Yeah,
sublimation
time-
camp is coming up. Like it's just like
time
all of a
doesn't
sudden I'm like,
stop.
it's just so much.
When you're in a rush, it's like, why does everything go wrong? I'm in a rush.
Right.
Nothing needs to go wrong at this
Yeah.
moment, but
Uh-huh.
everything goes wrong.
But your machines, if you're using crafting machines, I
Everything
swear
goes
they know you're under deadline. So they're like, ha, ha, ha. I'm going
Mhm.
to, I definitely need to be
That's-
Yeah.
cleaned right now. And you're like, seriously, you need to be cleaned right now?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So have you guys had any business to business partnerships that didn't go the way you expected? Like, did you have to learn any hard lessons or anything like that other than maybe time, not doing things with enough time?
We haven't really had any bad experiences. I will say the first relationship with the gift shop, that one we eventually said, I just can't offer them at this price, but I think I could come back now.
We have our systems even more dialed in now. Now I think we can hit her price point that she was looking for then. But then it was really hard pill to swallow. And we did swallow the pill and made like no money off of the deal. But it did open up doors for other
Mhm.
things. But now I think with new systems in place and new ways of doing things and better machinery and better paint, I think we can easily hit her price point now. We're no longer business partners, but we're still friends, and she still passes our name out and stuff.
Oh, we didn't end on bad terms or
Yeah,
anything.
just-
It's just I said I can't produce that kind of volume. But that was 3 years ago,
Yeah,
and I think we're a lot more
She came
efficient.
in for a workshop just a couple of months ago, so we're still on good terms.
Cool.
I feel like it's common for people to underprice when they start selling their crafts at period. Like they're underpricing themselves, period. And then they want to get into wholesale and they're way underpriced. So that is something to think about for everyone. If you are thinking like eventually I would like to wholesale, you probably need to start looking at that pricing now and realize that your margins probably aren't enough to start taking on those wholesale clients.
Yes, definitely. And if you can't get cheaper materials, again, figure out how to improve your process, save time, know your numbers, know all of your numbers. Even the little ones add up. Pennies will add up real fast without you even knowing.
I was just going to give a really quick pitch for a product that we both really love, which is called the Crafty Profit Projector. It is a spreadsheet system that our friend Courtney Brickner sells. She was a guest on our podcast a while back, and she basically breaks down how much a product costs to make by linear yards of tape and like everything that you need, the pennies you don't count, and including your time. So I'm going to go ahead and
Yes.
leave a link to that down in the description of the video and in the podcast notes if anybody wants to get better at pricing their products. I love that product. I use it for my own business. Courtney is amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Cause that is so hard to do because sometimes you want to just do your pricing by feeling. And that is the wrong way to price it.
You might feel like you're overcharging. Ooh, is this too expensive? But it's not. If you price it accordingly, people will see the value and pay. If they love your product, they will pay for it. And while it might feel too expensive, it's probably not. So I've seen lots of items that are like, oof, that's expensive, but I really love that, and
Yeah.
I'll be willing to pay that for it.
Tough question here to wrap us up. Would you do anything differently if you were starting from scratch?
Yes. I would work on our systems and processes a lot more upfront um, before I would even attempt to go in to do the wholesale stuff. And we did learn that lesson. It was like 6 months of learning that lesson and making no money, but producing product and working for no money. So with our paint now, we're kind of dragging our feet, actually doing a launch into wholesale just to make sure that our processes are down because I don't want to run into problems with other people's lead times waiting on us. And then once that happens, where we're not able to meet those expectations, they're not going to come back. So I want to have my systems in place. I want to be able to have our labeling and filling pretty much automated and be ready to go. As little hiccup as possible before we launch into wholesale.
Well, and that's what makes your podcast so great. If folks are listening to these, so I've been listening to some of the previous episodes, and that's a great way to get ready and start thinking about things before you jump in with both feet. It's just listening to what others, well, you've listened to my lessons learned, and you can listen to everybody else's lessons learned, and that really will help you think through a lot of the steps prior to launching. So just if
Even
you're
if it's
listening to this podcast, you're
yeah,
trying to be proactive.
even if it's information that I know what you're saying, but having it reinforced by other people saying what you know is to be true sometimes helps you take those actions or follow their mistakes.
Well,
You
you
know,
hear that
or
voice in your head. I remember so and so saying, I better make sure
Mhm.
I count for this or I count for that.
Yeah, you guys already have me thinking
Yeah.
about once I get through this craft fair. I'm like, I think I have my systems pretty well down, but I think they could be more efficient. So I need to do like an efficiency audit on my systems basically and say, okay, I'm spending too much time doing this. What can I speed up?
Well, one of the things I came from a systems engineering background.
Mhm.
So, yeah, once I realized that this wasn't a craft business or I wasn't making art, I was trying to make money. That's when I was like, oh, okay, look, we need to do some lean manufacturing here. And that's when we started doing processes. And Tanner, our son, helps us in the back. I actually had him write down his processes and stuff so that we knew what they really were. And that really helps sometimes writing down your processes, writing down every step. Just like when you go to the grocery store, you don't want to forget something. You don't want to leave it out. Just write it all down. Make yourself a list. Make yourself a list of the processes, every step along the way, any materials that you use along the way. Just write it all down.
That helps too. If you then end up hiring somebody, you have all of your processes
Yes.
in place.
My background is similar in
Yeah,
engineering, and I love hearing you say lean manufacturing. Even for a small handmade business,
Yeah.
like you can implement a lot of these procedures and you would be amazed at, the results you're able to get and how you're able to produce your product even cheaper. Even for a small handmade business, those same principles apply.
I don't want to get too deep, but we did our stream. What's our value streams and our manufacturing streams, and what are all the lead times for everybody that supports us. Because if we want to be able to produce this paint at scale and offer it wholesale, we need to know our entire value stream.
All right. So before we go, this has been fantastically helpful for me. I hope it has been for all of our listeners as well. But before we go, Kim and Garrett have a special offer for our listeners. Do you guys want to talk about your deal?
Yeah. So we are offering a discount on our paint. So as we shared, we do, there's only so many times I can show you that I'm painting this sign and someone say, what kind of paint are you using? What kind of paint are you using? Guess what? We're using Foxy Hughes paint, which is our paint. So we started offering our own paint brand. And that is, I guess we've had it out for about a year. Well, close to a year.
Almost 18 months.
Oh, okay. Just over a year. The first couple of bottlings, it was, let's just test the market. But now it's taking off. And so that's something we're looking to market more this year. And we want to offer you guys a discount on the paints, a 20% discount on our 34 pack of paints. Actually, it will work on any of them if you want to try one or two colors, but it is a whole collection. We have a 34 set of colors, which is behind us. As you can see, it's been back there the whole time. And this is outdoor craft paint. So it's not only for any of your craft projects, but it's great for something like door hangers, which will be outside because it is UV resistant, weather resistant. So it's door hangers, porch leaners, things like that. It's great for your outdoor projects. So that's our little niche to craft paint. It's a little something different, a little step up.
So you can head to link.craftingcamps.com/paint. And if you use coupon code crafting for profit, and that's all one word, you get the 20% discount. And that ends on September 30th, 2025. So use it now. Try the paint out. I am absolutely sure you're going to love it. And I'm like super excited about the UV resistant part. You said that and I was sold. So
I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I went right to it's mildew. Like, it's not gonna get all weird and mildewy. That's awesome.
2 different parts of the US, but we're both excited.
Yes. All right. Kim and Garrett, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your experience, like doing both business to business and business to consumer. I feel like this was really helpful because I think sometimes people think, oh, if I'm going to do wholesale, I need to have, a fair website or my own website. And then I need to have a line sheet and a catalog and like all of these things. And like, it's just this big business sort of thing. But you guys kind of showed that like, it really doesn't have to look like that. And I think that makes it much more doable for our audience.
So if this episode got your wheels turning and you're like, I can do it too, we'd love to hear what you're thinking. So our Instagram is at Crafting Camps. DM us and let us know if this episode inspired you. And if you know someone and you're thinking, boy, they need this episode, be sure to text it to them right now. And thanks for hanging out with us on Crafting for Profit Live. Of course, we'll be back in 2 weeks with even more ways to grow your handmade business. See you soon.